Uh-oh. Three friends, Kyle, Harry, and Sherry, are locked in separate cages on a deserted island in the middle of a lake. Kyle's cage has a huge ice block on top of it. There's a tank with boiled water on top of Harry's cage. Only Sherry's cage hatch is locked, and the metal padlock is pretty heavy. The key is inside Kyle's cage. Can you find a way for the three friends to escape? It's daytime and the weather is hot. Therefore, the ice over Kyle's cage will soon melt. He'll be able to grab the key and escape through the hatch on top of his cage. As for the boiled water, it will eventually cool down. After that, Harry will be able to escape through the hatch on top of his cage, joining Kyle. Then the two guys can unlock Sherry's cage. The guys are now released from their cages. They begin to look for a way to escape and come up with three options. They can try to drive this old car, walk to the nearest village and ask for help, or use this rowboat, which floats not far from the shore. Can you help them choose the best option? It's a deserted island in the middle of a lake, remember? The first two options simply make no sense. The guys use the boat and manage to reach the mainland by midnight. Luckily, they find an abandoned cabin to spend the night. But it only has one match. There's an oil lamp, a fireplace, and a furnace in this cabin. What should they light first? Yeah, it's the match.
Woo!
The next morning, Kyle wakes up early. Harry and Sherry are still sleeping. He decides to go investigate the area. Soon Kyle finds a brand new airplane. He immediately gets behind the wheel to pick up his friends and fly away from this cursed forest. But suddenly, the owner of the vehicle shows up. He pushes Kyle out of the airplane without a parachute. There's only hard ground below him, but Kyle manages to survive. How? The airplane is still on the ground. Sherry wakes up second and decides to go pick some berries for breakfast. Finds three bushes with different types of berries, but only one of them is safe. Can you guess which one? Let's take a look at the first bush. Although raspberries are edible, a scorpion is hiding inside the bush, so Sherry should stay away from it. The second bush has a bunch of pretty berries, but there are no animal traces around the bush, so it's probably poisonous. As for the third option, it's a simple gooseberry bush. It has some animal traces around it. It seems quite reliable. Meanwhile, Harry wakes up in the cabin. He realizes that the room is on fire and he's trapped. The smoke prevents him from seeing the windows, and the door is blocked by the fire too. The firefighters are on their way, but he needs to think quickly to survive while he's waiting for help. Harry comes up with four options: to stay on the ground and stay as low as possible, to get on a chair and stay close to the ceiling, to take his clothes off to stay cooler, or to hide under the desk. Can you help him figure out the best solution? Harry should stay low to the ground. That way, he'll be better protected from fumes and smoke. The locals save Harry and Sherry from the fire and imprison them in their village. But soon, they get bored and decide to offer the prisoners a chance to escape. Harry and Sherry are put on opposite sides of one room. Both friends are facing a wall. The task is to write down a number between 10,000 and 1 million on a piece of paper without knowing what the other person wrote. If the two numbers end up being different, Harry and Sherry will be captured forever. But if they write the same number, the locals will set them free. Unfortunately, their ears are plugged with headphones playing loud music, so they can only communicate using sign language. Also, their feet are chained to the ground, so they cannot turn around. But yet, they manage to pick the same number. How? There were windows on the walls, so Harry and Sherry could see each other in the reflection of the glass. They could easily communicate using sign language. Meanwhile, Kyle is traveling through the jungle on his own to find his friends. Kyle takes a look inside his filtered water bottle. Ooh, bad news. He's almost out of water. He wanders around and finds 4 sources of water: a juicy cactus, a pond with salty salt water, a clear still lake, and a silt stream. What source of water should Kyle choose? Most cactuses are toxic, so instead of fighting his thirst, Kyle will get a stomachache. Salty salt water will dehydrate him. Stagnant water from the still lake is probably infested with all kinds of bacteria. So the best choice would be the silty stream. It contains nothing that Kyle's filter water bottle can neutralize. Kyle keeps on walking. Suddenly, he spots a crocodile and freaks out. Can you see it too? The croc is over here. Kyle is trying to escape, but the jungle is full of other wild animals. He only has 2 options: to sail on a motorboat across the lake when he saw the crocodile, or to sail on a regular boat across the Shark River. Can you help him pick the best option? Kyle should choose the second option. Sharks don't inhabit waters, so it's just a cool name. Meanwhile, Harry and Sherry are walking through the mountains. They find a cave and decide to explore it. Suddenly, the ground begins to tremble and falling stones block the way out. The guys wander around and find 3 tunnels leading outside. A hungry mountain lion is waiting in the first tunnel. He hasn't eaten in 2 years. The second tunnel is infested with unknown flesh-eating insects. They love to feast on all types of mammals, including humans. And the third passage is guarded by a dangerous runaway criminal. He's ready to get rid of any witnesses, just to avoid going to prison again. Which way is more or less safe? Harry and Sherry should choose the first passage. Mountain lions cannot live for 2 years without food. Harry and Sherry keep on walking. They argue about human body capabilities. They make a deal. Harry would go to Antarctica, and Sherry would travel to the Sahara Desert. They'll both try to survive in those locations for 3 days without any shelter or clothes, but with plenty of food and water. Who has the best chance of surviving? In Antarctica, the temperatures are freezing all the time, and without any cover, Harry would turn into a snowman in less than a day. In the Sahara, on the other hand, the heat is intense only during the day. It's rather cool there during the night, and a water supply will help Sherry fight dehydration. Harry and Sherry reach the top of a mountain. Suddenly, they spot Kyle in the woods. Unfortunately, the mountain road is very confusing. There are 3 possible routes the guys can take to reach Kyle. Can you help them choose the best option? Only the third route actually leads to Kyle. Finally, Kyle, Harry, and Sherry reunite. The guys approach the harbor, hoping to find a vessel to go home. Luckily, they meet a family of 3. Each of them is ready to give the guys a ride on their own boat. Timothy says, "My boat is the best. I bought it 6 months ago and named it after my wife." His son Thomas says, "My boat is 10 years old and has never let me down." And Monica, Timothy's wife, says, "My boat is used, but I know the route better than anyone. Trust me." And only one of them is telling the truth. Can you guess who? Take a closer look at Timothy's boat. Its name is Michelle, not Monica, which means his story is a lie. Thomas lied about the age of his boat. The engraving says 1980. So the guy should say yes to Monica. Now, Bella and Ella are preparing for an epic party. Can you figure out who's not very smart? Even though Bella looks as if she's about to touch a hot iron, the device is actually unplugged, so she probably won't burn herself. Meanwhile, Ella is about to touch a heated waffle. Bella and Ella text their friend named Mike, who never answers any questions directly. They invite him to go to a party together. Mike's answer is kinda weird. "Sorry, no money. Job and job." Now, can you help the ladies crack Mike's message? Mike said he had no money because he was in between jobs. Bella and Ella arrive at the nightclub and see a huge line at the entrance. The local guard, Greg, checks people's ID cards. His task is not to let in suspicious people and folks under 21 years old. Here's the first guest's ID card. What do you think? Can you help Greg decide if he can let this visitor in? She seems fine. Let her in.
Yes!
Here's the next guest. What do you say? June 31 doesn't exist. There are only 30 days in June, so no entry, buddy.
Oh no!
Now what about this guy? Something's wrong with his birth date as well. There was no February 29 in 1977. That wasn't a leap year. And what about this lady's ID? Yep, she's good to go.
Okay.
Here's another candidate. What do you say? Well, he's 22, so he seems fine. Finally, Bella and Ella enter the club building, but they take a wrong turn and get lost. Finally, they enter an old-fashioned two-story hallway with a beautiful fountain in the middle of the room. That's when Bella and Ella realize that they are not alone. There are many ghosts here. Can you figure out the exact number? There are 7 ghosts in this space. One of the ghosts is hiding inside the fountain. And the lady over there is not a ghost. She's standing on her feet and she's sweating. So she's very much alive. The lady is the owner of the property. She says, "To get out of this place, you have to crack the following puzzle." Can you help Bella and Ella figure out what number is hiding under the question mark? It's 1. 5 equals 1 because 1 equals 5. That was mentioned earlier in the equation. Bella and Ella are very hungry. Finally, they get to the party and see 2 tables with snacks. Although they look identical, there are 5 differences between them. Can you spot those details? Feel free to pause the video if you need more time. Here they are. Bella and Ella take a couple of selfies at the party. Can you spot 3 differences between these pictures? Ah, 1, 2, and 3. Bella goes to the dance floor, and Ella stays on the sofa. After a while, Bella returns and finds no Ella, only a creepy note on the sofa. "We have imprisoned your friend in the middle of this labyrinth. Go save her before it's too late." Bella approaches the labyrinth entrance. She's worried that once she walks in, she won't be able to find her way out.
Oh my god.
How can she escape the labyrinth without getting lost and wasting too much time? She should put her right hand on the right wall and go forward, touching it at all times. She'll be walking into traps along the way. But if Bella follows the right wall, she'll get out of traps and will eventually find her way out of the labyrinth. Let's take a look at this labyrinth from above. Can you help Bella find the correct path? Here's the only route leading to the final destination. Bella manages to find Ella in the center of the maze. Suddenly, a secret door opens, and a creepy voice announces, "You can use this elevator to leave, but first, you have to enter a 4-number passcode to turn it on." Can you help the ladies crack the code? Take a look at the 4 symbols on the elevator. It's a hint. Each image implies a number. The word crown consists of 5 words, so it implies 5. Necklace implies 8, ring 4, and diamond 7. And the code is 5847.
Oh.
Bella and Ella want to return to the party, but they face a guard who says, "You'll have to crack my riddle if you want to come in." What is that thing that you have to break before you can use it? The ladies crack this mystery right away. What about you? The correct answer is an A.
Yes!
Bella and Ella are walking down the corridor. They face a locked door. There are 5 buttons on the door, but only one of them will let Bella and Ella pass. If they choose the wrong one, the door will get blocked forever. Can you help them choose the correct button? There's something special about almost all these buttons. The first one is unlike the others because it doesn't have an outline. The second one has a different shape. The third one has a different color. And the last one is smaller than all the others. The fourth button doesn't have any distinctions. That's what makes it so special. So Bella and Ella should press this one. Yay! The party goes on. 3 guys approach Ella and invite her to the dance floor. But only one of them is safe to dance with. Can you decide who? The first guy has too many spikes on his clothes. He might accidentally scratch Ella. And the second guy is a sorcerer. He has a love potion in his pocket, so he can't be trusted either. Therefore, Ella should pick the third guy. Bella takes a picture of Ella on the dance floor. She freaks out right away.
Oh my god.
Why? There's a skeleton among the dancing people. Ella gets very thirsty after dancing and approaches a waiter. He offers her an infinite supply of free drinks if she can crack his riddle. "I'll give you 1 glass of milk and 1 glass of water. You'll need to pour the 2 liquids into a bowl, but you should be able to separate the milk from the water later. You can't use any kind of dividers." It took Ella a while, but she cracked this riddle. What did she do? She poured all the water into a bowl and froze it. After that, she added the milk.
Oh.
Finally, Bella and Ella leave the party and enter a supermarket to grab some snacks. They see 2 ladies. One of them is married to their friend Mike. Can you guess who? It's the lady on the left. Her shopping cart contains shampoo for men's hair and beard. Bella, Ella, and their common friends, Nick, Nancy, and Adam, are hanging out at Mike's place. The next morning, they find Mike unconscious in the living room. None of the 5 friends know what happened to him. The police show up and they find a note next to Mike's calendar. It reads 4, 12, 8, and 3. The detective already knows who attacked Mike. What about you? It was Adam. The note was next to a calendar. 4 implies April, 12 implies December, 8 August, and 3 March. Take the first 3 letters of each month, and you get the name Adam. The next day, Bella and Ella go skydiving. Oh no, Bella's parachute hasn't opened, and she's now plunging toward the ground. There are 2 places where she can land. Bella can either fall into the lake or into this large haystack. Can you help her choose the best option? Bella should try to fall on the hay. Can you see those creepy crocodiles hiding near the lake? Bella manages to land safely. She meets Ella and they go camping. Unfortunately, Ella gets bitten by a snake, and Bella is trying to suck the venom out of her leg. Mike is also on the trip. Suddenly, he spots a black widow spider on his arm. Who's in a bigger danger, Bella or Mike? Bella. If she has any scratches in her mouth, the venom will get inside her bloodstream. As for Mike, black widows rarely bite people, and the bites are rarely fatal.
Jenny went to her favorite coffee shop and bought a latte. After she put her stuff and her coffee on the table, she went to the restroom to wash her hands. But when she came back, her latte was gone. There were only 3 other customers in the cafe. Can you help Jenny figure out who drank her coffee? This guy here has the same latte cup, but there are ice cubes in it. He must be drinking iced coffee. This lady's cup on the table is too small. She must be having an espresso. But check out this guy. Even though he doesn't have any drinks on the table, he has a coffee mustache on his face. And Jenny's empty latte cup is inside the trash behind his table. Kenny, the beach guard, spotted 3 people arguing on the beach. They were all claiming they had found a gold necklace in the sand. Tom said, "I found it with my metal detector." Lisa said, "I found it in the ocean while swimming." And Mike said, "I was digging in the sand to make a sandcastle, and that's when I found the necklace." Kenny knew only one of them was telling the truth. Who really found the necklace? Tom said he found the necklace with his metal detector, but it's turned off. Lisa said she found the necklace while swimming, but it's dry, unlike Lisa's swimsuit. So it couldn't have just come out of the water. That means Mike is telling the truth. Greg was taking a stroll in a busy park, but then he realized his wallet had disappeared. He remembered 3 people had bumped into him earlier, and one of them must have stolen his wallet. The police brought all 3 of them to the station. The first lady said, "It wasn't me. I have no pockets to hide the wallet." The second lady said, "I was only chasing after my dog." And the third guy said, "Look at my pockets. I have nothing in them." Who took the wallet? The third guy's pockets might be empty, all right, but take a closer look at the skateboard he's holding under his arm. This section of it is wrapped with duct tape, even though the skateboard doesn't look broken. And under the tape, hidden, there's something bulky. That must be Greg's wallet. Barney, the owner of the local gym, called Detective Espinoza and said someone had broken all the sports equipment before he arrived. When Detective Espinoza watched the security footage, he noticed that the vandal was still inside the gym and was last seen entering the dressing room stalls. Detective Espinoza immediately rushed there, but all 3 stalls were occupied. Can you help him find out who the criminal is? Take a look at the stall on the right. The small notice says it's out of order. Moreover, the lady inside it is either wearing underwear over her jeans or she just disguised herself in a hurry. So, the criminal is in the right stall. Bella went to the performance of a famous circus company. They were especially known for their skilled rope walker who never had any trouble during any of her performances. But right before she was about to step onto the rope, Bella shouted from the audience, "Stop the show!" Can you tell why? Take a look at the heels of the rope walker's shoes. The right shoe's heel is cracked. That could easily catch on the rope and cause her to slip no matter how talented she is. James had been saving money to buy himself a new motorcycle. He finally had enough to get the new model. When he headed to the store, he saw that there was a special offer. The helmet and other safety equipment would be free if he could answer this riddle. What kind of coat is always wet when you put it on? Can you help James get freebies? The answer is a coat of paint. James couldn't wait to drive his motorcycle back home. However, on his way, he made a wrong turn and ended up at an unknown crossroad. Which path should he take? The first path is all muddy, and that can make the bike slip. The second path looks like it's only covered with dried leaves. But if you take a closer look, you can see nails that can give James's motorcycle flat tires. So he should take the third path with the tiny pebble stones. After completing her yoga class, Aisha couldn't find her car keys. When she claimed it to the receptionist and asked for help, she said she saw 3 people near her locker. When Aisha questioned them, Rupert said he didn't even know how to drive. Lily said she was living within walking distance of the studio, so she wouldn't even need to drive. And Alan said he only had his own car keys. Can you tell who's lying? Look at the keys Alan is holding. He said those were his car keys, but the keychain has Aisha's name on it. He has her keys. As Amy was hiking in the forest, she reached a crossroad on the trail. When she searched for her bag to check the trail map, she noticed it was gone. And now she didn't know which path to take. Can you help her? The second path might look clear, but do you see the "Beware of Avalanche" sign under the leaves here? Seems like this won't be the safest option. As for the third path, take a look at these trees here. They all have bear claw markings on them, so she shouldn't choose that one either. But she can easily climb over the fallen tree blocking the first path and continue heading to the camp safely. Barry's boss loved games, and the only way to get a promotion in the company was if employees answered his riddles correctly. It was finally Barry's turn to have a meeting with him. When he entered the office, the boss said, "Tell me the answer and become a senior." A man and his boss have the same parents but are not siblings. How is this possible? He is self-employed. Ben and his girlfriend Jessica were enjoying the carnival in town. That's when Ben spotted the "Find the Odd One, Win the Prize" notice on one of the booths. The prize was a pearl necklace, and he wanted to win it for Jessica. The owner of the booth said Ben needed to spot the different wind-up toys on 3 different shelves. The first shelf had little bear toys moving around. Can you help him find the different one? This little bear's face looks as if it's blinking, unlike the others. The second shelf was full of small wind-up robot toys this time. Which toy is different? This robot has a square nose, unlike the others with triangle noses. The last shelf has cute wind-up fairy toys. Which one is different? This fairy here has 3 wings. Detective Terry was chasing a robber who was running away across a crowded street. But just as he was closing in, a passerby momentarily blocked his view, and the robber vanished. At the end of the road, there were only 3 shops where the robber could be hiding. Take a look at the display windows of each one. Can you spot him? Look at the hung clothes on the shelf that can be seen from the second store's window. Can you spot a glimpse of the red sneakers matching those worn by the robber? He's hiding in there. Victoria was invited to a costume party at her office. When she arrived, she noticed that one of her colleagues might actually be a monster. Can you tell who? Take a look at the guy wearing a superhero costume. Both of the gloves he is wearing are left-hand ones. On a winter day, a man was standing in the middle of someone's front yard. The person stayed there for several weeks without moving, and the owner of the yard didn't mind. Eventually, the man left. Who was the man? It was a snowman, of course. He left a couple of weeks later when the temperature went up. Over winter break, 5 best friends each did different activities in different cities. Can you find out each friend's full name, what they did, and where they went? Their first names are Julie, Megan, David, Fred, and Sam. Their last names are Wallace, Thompson, Mallard, Shields, and Drake. Their preferred activities are a ski trip, moving to another place, a cruise, cooking classes, and visiting relatives. The places where they went are Houston, Paris, Cleveland, Vancouver, and Miami. And now, there's a bit more info you might need. 1. Julie and Miss Wallace were sad that David wasn't coming back. 2. Neither Sam nor Julie had ever left the US before this winter break. 3. All the first names that have 2 syllables belong with the last names that have 2 syllables. Nobody's last name starts with the same letter as their first name. 4. Miss Mallard is excited to learn about French cuisine. 5. Mr. Thompson doesn't want to move. 6. The friends, in no particular order, are as follows. The girl who is going on a ski trip, Mr. Shields, Megan, the boy headed to Houston, and Julie. 7. Cruises can only be taken in warm coastal cities. Ski trips can only be taken in cold, mountainous places. Remember that this winter. 8. The cruise ship Fred is traveling on does not dock in Houston. Also keep in mind that Sam can be a boy's or girl's name. In this case, it's short for Samantha. Julie Mallard takes cooking classes and she went to Paris. Megan Wallace moved to Cleveland. David Thompson visited his relatives in Houston. Fred Shields went on a cruise in Miami. Sam Drake took a ski trip in Vancouver. It's 1962, and you're traveling to Innsbruck, Austria, to see the Winter Olympics. When you arrive at the stadium, nobody is there. You ask a passerby, "Why isn't anyone here for the Winter Olympics?" The man answers your question. You both laugh at your silly mistake, and you go back home. What did the passerby tell you? He told you that the Winter Olympics wouldn't start until 1964. There are a few airplanes on the island. The tank of each airplane contains just enough fuel to fly halfway around the world. Any amount of fuel can be transferred from one plane to another while in the air. The only source of fuel is on the island. It's assumed that all the planes burn fuel at the same rate and fly at the same speed. What is the smallest number of airplanes needed to ensure that one plane flies all the way around the world? All the planes should return safely to the island. Only 3 planes are needed. Planes A, B, and C leave the island together. After flying 1/8 of the distance, Plane C transfers 1/4 of the contents of its tank to Plane A and 1/4 to Plane B. This leaves C with 1/4 of its fuel, which is just enough to get back to the island. Planes A and B continue for another 1/8 of the way. Plane B then transfers 1/4 of the contents of its tank to Plane A. Plane B now has half a tank of fuel left, which is enough to go back to the island. Plane A now has a full tank and continues to fly until it runs out of fuel, which occurs when it's 1/4 of the way to the island. It is met by Plane C, which has already been refueled. Plane C transfers 1/4 of its tank to Plane A, and they both head home. Planes A and C run out of fuel when 1/8 of the way to the island is left. Luckily, they're met by Plane B, which has been refueled too. Plane B transfers 1/4 of its tank to each of the 2 planes, and the 3 aircraft now have enough fuel to get home. 2 50-foot ropes are suspended from a 40-foot ceiling 20 feet apart. You have only a knife. How much of the rope can you steal? Almost all of it. First, tie the ropes together at the ends. Then, climb one of the ropes. Make a loop as close to the ceiling as possible. While hanging from the loop, cut the rope just below it. But don't drop it, otherwise you'll be stuck up there. Run the rope through the loop and tie it to your waist. Swing over to the other rope and pull the rope that's going through the loop tight. Cut the other rope as close to the ceiling as possible, holding tight to the end of it. Once the rope is loose, you will swing down below the loop. Let yourself down to the ground by letting the rope out. At the bottom, untie yourself and pull the rope completely through the loop. At this point, you'll have all the rope except what was used to tie the loop. You find yourself trapped in a medieval castle far away from civilization. It's freezing outside. You can't jump out the window because it's too high above the ground, and even snowdrifts won't make the jump softer. The only tree growing near the window doesn't look sturdy enough for you to climb down. However, there are 3 doors, one of which can lead you to freedom. But behind the first door, there's a fierce fire. The second door holds back hundreds of venomous snakes. And behind the third door, there's a pitch-dark maze, and you can only imagine what surprises are waiting for you there. Which door should you choose? The third one. You'll just need to break off a tree branch, turn it into a torch by lighting it in the first room, and go through the maze, which wouldn't be dark anymore. When Mary came to work after a winter break, she realized that the office had been robbed.
Oh, no.
The night guard said he had been patrolling the building when he'd heard suspicious noises. When he got there, he saw that the office door was wide open, and so was the safe. The man also added that he had looked out of the window and noticed someone get in a car. But the sun blinded him, and he didn't manage to see who it was. Mary instantly called the police. Why? There's no sun at night, so it couldn't have blinded the night guard. He must have invented the whole story to help the criminals. Or is he the thief himself? Tina and Timothy loved adventures. Once, they decided to check out an ancient castle in Greenland that was said to belong to a witch. That witch used snow to perform her magic and could turn into any object and copy anyone's appearance. In the castle, they used torches to light their way.
Oh, no.
All of a sudden, their torches went out. Tina got terribly scared. But then the torches lit again, and she saw two husbands of hers in front of her. Can you tell who is her real husband? It's the man on the right. He has 5 fingers, like a regular human. The man on the left has 4 fingers, so it must be the witch. An anonymous person called the police and told them that a notorious criminal had come back to the town. The next day, they called the police once again to report the screams they had heard. They had been coming from an abandoned house. The police rushed there. They broke in and saw 3 tied-up men. They figured out that one of them must have been the criminal. One of the officers said that he knew exactly who the criminal was. Can you spot them? Look at the man on the left. Can you see a phone in his pocket? A true criminal would never let their victim use a phone. Take him, officer!
One popular TV show, Best Cook, invited 3 chefs to play a game to see who's the best cook. Only professional chefs could participate, and the winner got a $1,000 cash prize. Suddenly, the producer spotted something weird. There was an imposter. One of the men was lying about being a professional chef. Who is the liar? Look at the third man. It appears that he doesn't know how to sharpen a knife. He's not a real cook, and this bloody stain on his uniform looks suspicious. Now, look at these 3 beggars. It seems like there's a liar among them. Can you guess who it is? The first one doesn't have shoes. He's indeed poor. The third one doesn't have a tooth. He must be poor too. The second man is rich. He's sitting on a comfy cushion, he's got shoes, and he doesn't pay attention to the coins he's given. Can you spot a fake grandma? Look at these old ladies. One of them isn't really a granny. The first one has a weird green potion in her cauldron. She must be a witch, just like the third one. But you can be a witch and a granny. What about the second one? She belongs to Gen Z, according to her gesture. She can't be a real granny. You're walking down the aisle in the supermarket and see 2 pregnant women. Still, only one of them is really expecting. Can you tell who it is? The couple on the left is no doubt expecting a baby. Plus, they both have rings on their fingers. Meanwhile, the red-headed woman on the right looks suspicious, and she also doesn't have a ring or a partner accompanying her. The local oceanarium announced a one-of-a-kind exhibition featuring real mermaids. Claire decided to visit it, but once she left the exhibition room, she headed to the ticket office to ask for a refund. Why? Well, the thing is, one of the mermaids wasn't real. Look at the same birthmarks these 2 ladies have. They must be sisters. So the girl in a yellow shirt must be faking it. And she doesn't have gills either. It's a working day, but your boss lets you work remotely. You're having a Zoom call. You realize that one of your colleagues isn't at home. Who is it? It's that lady in the top left corner. She's not in the same time zone for sure. You're at a fork in the road. One path leads to the city of lies, where everyone lies, and the other to the city of truth, where everyone always tells the truth. There's a person at the fork who lives in one of the cities, but you're not sure which one.
Uh-oh.
What question should you ask them to find out which road leads to the city of truth? You need to ask this person, "Can you show me where you live?" If it's the inhabitant of the city of truth, they will show you the direction to their city. If this person lives in the city of lies, they will have to lie and point to the city of truth, too. A girl meets a lion and unicorn in the forest. The lion lies every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. On the other days of the week, he tells the truth. The unicorn lies on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. On the other days of the week, everything he says is the truth. "Yesterday I was lying," the lion tells the girl. "So was I," the unicorn claims. "So, which day is it?" It's Thursday. A man got caught on the king's property. He is brought before the king to be punished. The king says that the man must give a statement. If it's true, the man will have to face angry lions. If it's false, he'll have to deal with a wild buffalo. If the king can't figure it out, he'll have to let the guy go. Eventually, the man is released. What was his statement? The man said, "Today I will be trampled by wild buffaloes." If the statement was true, the guy would have to be eaten by lions, which would make the statement false. But if it was false, the man would have to face wild buffaloes, which would make the statement true. So this statement created a logic loop, and the king had to let the guy go. 4 people are having dinner on a restaurant terrace, talking about business. Jennifer is wearing 2 large golden bracelets and golden rings on each of her fingers. Martin has a brand new phone and a smartwatch. Connor has a tattoo on his hand and a dazzling golden watch on his wrist. Steve has no watch, rings, or bracelets, but he's wearing a smart suit. Only one of these people is a real millionaire. Can you guess who it is? It's Steve. He's got car keys in his pocket, and there's a brand new sports car parked nearby. Jennifer has old ripped shoes, so her jewels must be a knockoff. Martin's phone is fake too, and Connor has old ripped shoes, just like Jennifer. A wise king realized that he was tired of all the hard work he had to do, so he decided to find someone who could replace him. He decided to organize a challenge. The one who would nail it would become the next king. Anyone who wanted to take the throne needed to put a whole cucumber into a glass bottle without cutting the cucumber or damaging the bottle. The participants had a week to do it. This challenge seemed to be impossible, so only 5 people decided to take part, and there was only one winner. How did he put the cucumber in the bottle? He placed a baby cucumber still on its stem into the bottle. Cucumbers grow rather fast, so he had enough time to win that competition. Allison majored in math at the university. Her roommates wanted to test her intelligence. They took 3 envelopes and wrote short messages on them. Then they put the answers to Allison's exam questions in one of the envelopes. Only one envelope had a truthful message written on it. The other 2 were false. Allison wasn't allowed to open the envelopes and could only pick one.
Uh-oh.
The first message read, "There are no exam answers here." The second was, "The exam answers are here." And the third message read, "The exam answers aren't in the second envelope." Which envelope should Allison pick? The third envelope tells the truth, which means the exam answers are in the first envelope. Russell and Maria were on vacation. One day, Maria told Russell she couldn't go to the beach with him because she was feeling unwell. When Russell came back to the room to grab his phone, Maria was gone. He found her by the pool and asked, "Are you alone here?" She nodded, but Russell immediately realized she was lying. How? There were 2 soda pops and 2 fruit platters on her table. Mark, Jim, and Bob worked as managers in the same office. One day, one of them is fired, and one gets a promotion. The remaining manager wants to resign at first, but then changes his mind. You know that the one who is fired is older than the rest and single. Jim is younger than the manager who decided to stay at work, and he doesn't know Bob's wife. Who's fired? It's not Jim because he's younger than the manager who stays. It's also not Bob because he's married. It means that Mark has been fired, Jim has gotten a promotion, and Bob has decided to stay in his position. One day, Stephanie got lost in the woods. At one point, she stumbled upon an old witch's house. The door cracked open and she came in. The witch turned out to be really kind. She promised Stephanie she would make her dreams come true if she cracked a riddle. Stephanie was dreaming of a new phone, so she agreed. The witch asked, "If 11 plus 3 equals 2, what does 8 plus 6 equal?" It took Stephanie about a minute to come up with an answer, but she nailed it. What was the answer? "11 plus 3 equals 2 o'clock. 8 o'clock plus 6 equals 2 o'clock too."